"Get your hands off me!" The scream split the evening air like a gunshot. I remember dropping the tongs I was holding, the smell of charcoal still hanging in the air, and sprinting toward the driveway. What I saw next would tear apart everything I thought I knew about justice, power, and my own quiet little neighborhood. By the end of that night, 3 men in uniforms would lose everything, and one of them would find himself in federal prison. It started as an ordinary Saturday. I was hosting a small backyard barbecue, just a few colleagues, nothing fancy. My neighborhood, Maplewood Estates, prided itself on order. Trimmed lawns, painted mailboxes, and a security patrol that liked to remind everyone how safe we were. I'd learned to ignore them until that night. My colleague, Tracy Williams, was supposed to arrive around 7. We'd worked together on some municipal contracts, sharp woman, calm under pressure, the kind of person who always seemed 2 steps ahead. I was inside seasoning the steaks when I noticed a white SUV idling at the end of my driveway. The driver, one of our HOA security guards, was talking into his radio. His eyes didn't leave my house. At first, I brushed it off, routine patrol, I thought, but there was something in his posture too deliberate, too focused. I felt that little pinch of unease, but told myself not to overthink it. By 7:30, my first guests had arrived, chatting over drinks while I checked the grill. Then, Tracy's black sedan pulled in. I remember smiling. Finally. I thought time to relax. But before she even reached my porch, 3 men stepped out of the shadows like predators closing in. They were HOA security, wearing matching uniforms with silver badges that looked more official than they had any right to. "Ma'am, I need to see some identification," said the biggest one, Morrison, his name tag read. His voice was sharp, commanding. Tracy looked confused. "I'm here for Michael Thompson's dinner party," she said evenly. "He's expecting me." "That's the problem," Morrison replied, stepping closer. "Your name isn't on our approved guest list. Could be you're some kind of real estate spy." I was frozen for a split second, watching through the window, trying to process how insane it sounded. Then, everything happened at once. Tracy tried to step around him. Morrison grabbed her arm, yanked her backward, and she hit the concrete hard. Her purse exploded across the driveway. Papers, phone, everything. "Stay down until we're finished with you," Morrison barked. That was it. I ran outside like a man possessed. "Get away from her," I shouted, my voice shaking with fury. Morrison turned hand on his radio. "Back off, Thompson. This is official HOA business. Interfere and we'll fine you." Fine me? For helping a guest who'd just been assaulted in my driveway. I knelt beside Tracy, helping her gather her things. Her expression wasn't panic, it was something colder. Controlled. She looked Morrison dead in the eye and asked, "What's your full name, officer?" "Head of Security, Maplewood Estates." "Jake Morrison," he said, puffing out his chest. Tracy gave a small smile, one I didn't understand at the time. "Good, I'll remember that." Then she stood, brushed off her blazer, and left. No shouting, no tears, just quiet fury. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her fall. By morning, I was at the HOA office demanding answers. Margaret Walsh, our HOA president, met me in her marble and mahogany office like a queen addressing a nuisance. "Mr. Thompson," she said with that polished arrogance people get when they've never been challenged. Our security acted appropriately. "Your guest violated protocol." "Protocol," I snapped. "They assaulted her." She smiled, a predator's smile. "Perhaps you should check your spam folder for community updates. New security measures were enacted last month. Unregistered guests after dusk are considered potential threats." I could feel my pulse pounding. "This is insane," I said. "No," she corrected smoothly. "It's community safety. Pay your fines, and we'll consider this resolved." I left shaking with rage and doubt. Was I overreacting? Could I really take on an HOA with lawyers and endless money? Every attorney I spoke to told me the same thing. You'll lose. They have deeper pockets. By afternoon, I'd all but given up, until Tracy called. "Michael," she said, calm as ever, "don't pay a dime. Their chance to make it right has expired." Then she hung up. Hours later, I found myself walking through the glass doors of the federal building downtown, confused as hell, following the address she'd given me, 15th floor Government Plaza. When the elevator opened, a receptionist looked up and said, District Attorney Williams will see you now." I thought I'd misheard District Attorney. And there she was, Tracy. Same woman who'd been thrown to the ground in my driveway, now standing behind a desk with the seal of the United States Attorney's Office gleaming behind her. She smiled. "I told you this evening would be educational, didn't I?" Turns out, Tracy hadn't been consulting for our firm by chance. She'd been investigating local corruption in HOA systems, statewide civil rights violations, fraud, extortion. And thanks to Morrison's stupidity, she now had it all on video. Within days, she filed the federal charges. I'll never forget the night of the emergency HOA meeting. The whole neighborhood packed into the community center, buzzing with rumors. Margaret stood at the podium, all fake composure, claiming their security team had heroically neutralized a trespasser. Morrison stood behind her, smirking like nothing could touch him. Then the doors burst open. Tracy walked in, flanked by 4 federal investigators. She held up her badge. "I am District Attorney Tracy Williams, United States Attorney's Office, Eastern District. This meeting is now under federal jurisdiction." The room froze. Morrison's face turned white as chalk. "Wait, that's the woman. You assaulted a federal officer," Tracy said coldly. "And we have it all on video." Her team rolled out a monitor, and the footage played the shove, the fall, his sneer, his words. "Maybe crawling will teach you some respect." The sound filled the hall. People gasped. Neighbors who'd once trusted those guards stared in horror. Tracy's voice carried through the chaos. "This is not just an assault. This is a pattern. Fraudulent fines, intimidation, violations of constitutional rights. And it ends tonight." Federal agents cuffed Morrison right there in front of everyone. Margaret tried to slip out the side door, but another agent stopped her. "You'll want to stay, ma'am. We have questions about your finances." The crowd erupted, cheers, shouts, tears. Phones recording every second. It was the first time in my life I'd seen raw justice unfold right in front of me. The story exploded nationwide. By dawn, our neighborhood was swarming with reporters. District Attorney, assaulted by HOA guards, blared across every network. Tracy's task force uncovered hundreds of thousands in fraudulent fines. Margaret had been running Maplewood like a personal racket, fake citations, forged invoices, extortion masked as community management. One by one, the dominoes fell. The guards turned state's evidence. The security company collapsed. Morrison pled guilty to assault on a federal officer and civil rights violations. 6 months in federal prison, fines, probation, and a lifetime ban from any security work. But the real shock came weeks later, Margaret's arrest. Racketeering, fraud, civil rights violations, the whole empire gone overnight. The same woman who'd sat in her leather chair mocking me now stood in handcuffs, face hidden from the cameras. Maplewood changed overnight. A new board was elected. The no trespassing signs came down. Residents started smiling again. I didn't run for president, but the neighbors insisted I join as vice chair to make sure no one like Margaret ever ruled again. The headlines called it the Maplewood Revolution. Legal reform followed. State laws changed, forcing HOAs to operate with transparency and resident oversight. Other communities came forward inspired by our story. But what I remember most isn't the cameras or the news. It's standing in that same driveway weeks later, watching Tracy step out of her car, no badge this time, just a friend. She smiled. "Feels different now, doesn't it?" It did. For the first time in years, the street was peaceful, not because someone was patrolling it, but because we'd reclaimed it. I'll never forget what she told me that night when everything was quiet again. Power doesn't mean control. Michael, real power means accountability. And that's the truth. I learned the hard way, authority without accountability isn't protection, it's tyranny.